of in. But otherwise, they're still in the money and still green.
Did you buy time or?
Yeah, March expiry.
Oh, yeah, I think you're good. Tomorrow's important, very important. Let's see. Change this. I gave the black background some time, and I just can't do it. Kudos to you guys. Did I not turn this on? All right, does everybody know where we bounced? You guys get it? Not yet? So here they had equal lows, which was your previous week, what? Low, right? This is your previous week low, and obviously the value area high was a little bit higher. We had it, I believe, at 68, which happened to be, I believe, if not mistaken, I think that was our overnight low. I think it was last night, overnight low. Let's see. So it was around 72, probably hit 60 something here, 68. So they hit 68 overnight low. And then we saw this bounce, right? That came in right there, right? So they had a nice little bounce, and then it went all the way to 87. I don't know if you guys paying attention to the chat, but I did say not a bad long. It can go all the way to 87, and then there's nothing else for me beyond 87. And I didn't think they would go there. Does anyone understand why 87 and 78 played a role? Do you guys remember this gap up, where the gap up started? Right, we had the gap start, which was 87, and then it went all the way down to about 78, I believe. Maybe I tagged the wrong line. I had 78.25 on my charts. Maybe it was because I used the auction lows. So this is the levels that I had, right? So once they reclaimed it, I was like, okay, well, there's a high chance they're going to go 87. And I was like, if there's any sellers present, they have to stop here. And they did stop, but then of course we lost half of them. Moved back up in the afternoon session from 3 o'clock onwards. They basically recovered like 40 points. So now when you look at the structure, am I audible, just to make sure you guys can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
I usually hear brazers or some background, but maybe not today. So now if you guys think about what we were doing here, we're back into the balance, right? So when you think about the value area, right, this is our value area here, and this was your range high, obviously, this value area high, and this was your range low for previous week. So now, you know, we broke that. If you guys recall, we broke that value area high, and I say once you lost this with aggression, right, there's a high chance that you're probably going to visit the value area low, and that's kind of the levels that we had if you go back in the Shorty's corner. And you kind of read and get the idea of what is happening, right? We had, if you guys recall, the 13, the 12 level, which was our kind of like a weekly POC. And then we said, if you lose that, most likely you're going to hit 68. Did I expect that they're going to lose this today and go to 68? You know, I don't expect as massive moves like that, nor do I expect these traces to be as violent. So now when you think about what's happening here is that you have two value area lows stacked together. And prior to that, let me just finish this. Look at the value area here that we had, right? So if you're to judge this week, I don't know what the hell I pressed. If you're to judge these weeks, where do you think the short time participants were involved? What week? In any of these weeks? Let's say from here onwards to the right. Which week was it like really, really short-term traders participating?
Well, the third week that you have back there where you've got it.
This one?
No. It's back to, you've got them trading right there in the range that they were range bound.
Yeah, so this is exactly where your two-sided short activity, happened. Meaning, this was a two-sided activity they were trading, right? I mean, if you're gonna call this a breakout, that's great, right? I don't consider this a massive breakout in this week, but they did a lot of damage here, I would say. You know, sometimes during off hours, right? You see these gaps, they come in and then they kind of held together. So really, they're gonna have to come back and find the happy medium, and I would think that 49.15 has a high chance to crack. And the only way structurally I would take this higher is that, you know, they first have to reclaim this 88 level for me to feel somewhat like they're in control. We'll look at the smaller time frames in a second, but from the structure standpoint, right, on 65 minutes, you have to reclaim this 88 and a half. If you can, then you see where the next level is, right? You know, you wouldn't go too far up before you find a major shelf, and that's sitting at 512.75. And that would be a really, really potentially good level to short this, guys. If you're to play this, I would definitely look for opportunity to short that. And if you see that there's any weakness on selling, right, there's a high chance they can, you know, break this and they would target the next level on the weekly here. Would be around this level here, which is where they kind of accumulated at 43. So now at least you have some bigger picture levels, right? And then I would have probably this level here on the bottom for the bottom side targets, right? At 15 or so. And if you're to draw FVP here, let's say for these weeks, and we have to change this template now. I'm gonna hide this. Actually, I'm just gonna draw a zone here when I have it. So I typically, if you guys remember, I don't like to trade between when the value areas are in the area like they are right now. Right, you guys see that there's a little bit of here, value area high, value area low, value area developing, value area low. So if they reclaim developing value area low, which they're really, really trying here, you want to be careful shorting because we can get a really rocket from here. If we closed where we were or below this node right here, it would be the path would be a little bit easier down. But now when you zoom in, let's say go on 2 hours so you guys can see it. If we are above this node, the path of least resistance is where?
Up.
It's up. So you want to be cautious. You want to draw this level somewhere, like even, you know, I would say anywhere here, 68. I would say anywhere to this level here, 60. That's a no trade zone for me. This area here, I would not look to, you know, place a lot of trades here because that's not a lot of decisions that's been made here. If you look to the left, they were not really confident in the auction. So now here, to me, it looks like they would want to bounce it to 512 or so, maybe 88 first stop, and then let's see if they trap people. But in this red zone, I would mark the top and the bottom level of this. Let me use this black line. Oh, let me do this. So this would be a really difficult zone for me to trade, right? Can they bounce from 60 to 72? Yeah, they can definitely do that. But they can also, when you get in at 61, they can also drop it to 915. And that's where you got to use, you know, whether it's footprints or order flow or something, kind of figure out, are they really being stopped out? I don't know if anyone was live when I was trading today, but I mentioned when we were at the lows, it just looks like they want to rip here. You know, they had a lot of sellers trapped, a couple of completed auctions, and the delta was slowing down. If the delta is slowing down, it could be because there's no sellers interested in selling these levels, and there's a lot of buyers buying up the whatever's left. So then the sellers lift the offer, and then they got to gauge, oh, I want to get it now. And that's how you kind of go up in the price, right? In the ladder. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So this level here, just be very careful trading. I have no interest until we crack either side here, right? You turn bearish a little bit below and bullish a little bit above here, okay? I would lean bullish if we open above 72. That's my pivot for, you know, bullishness. I would lean a little bit bullish if we can do that. We can't ignore this necessarily the sell-off, but we've seen crazier things the past 4 months. So don't set your sentiment that you're shorting every pop. At least not yet, right? We got to close this week right now, and you see the weekly low is where we bounced, right? So you're still framing up in terms of weekly, right? I would say on daily, we'll check in a second. I'm sure we're framing down, and we'll spend some time there right now. good on the weekly. Does anyone have questions? So we're back in balance on the weekly, which has honestly been a rare occasion, a sight to see. Take a look at this profile here. Does anyone want to decipher price and value of this? Somebody asked you, can you tell me how the price and value responded, acceptance or rejections? How would you describe this?
We opened up
would
below the
say-
prior. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We opened up below the prior day's POC, tested the bottom of it, and rejected that area. So essentially, it looked for a new value area. It collapsed down, found some value it didn't want to hold there, collapsed again. It actually broke down through the prior week's value low. We went actually value high all the way through POC and value low. And then essentially bounced off of some single prints from prior days, and through a value high of the week prior to that and hit the POC of that one, then bounced back. So essentially we rejected the area of the other. We rejected the area of the prior week value high and pushed us back up inside the value area of the other week. That's what I've got.
Yep, that's very good. So does everybody understand what he just explained? Because that's exactly what happened. You had 2-day balance, right? We reached the highs here. We broke the value area high. We popped higher. The buyer said, nah, we don't find any value here. Bring it back inside the value. And right, they closed inside the 2-day value. Then they came in. Of course, we had the binary event this morning, and that's why I was not really interested. Did I miss a lot of money? Not really. Did I make some money? Yeah, I did, but I did not have to gamble here, right? The same way we sliced through this 512 could have bounced there if you took that short and then, it went to all new all-time highs. So as a trader, some rules you have to set and you'll have to live by them. One of mine is that I'm not participating with any of these binary events, and it doesn't have to be a rule, but just something that's going to help you not feed the bad habits of winning by luck. You shouldn't be winning by luck. So now when they explored higher, price was rejected, they brought it back inside, and then you see the range low of this 2-day is kind of set somewhere around 512 as well. Once they sliced through that, what being said is they went back and they're looking for value. Remember the 3-day balance that we had not too long ago, right? When we talked about this, that we had the 3-day balance, it was consolidating into a triangle, and then we popped, right? So if you look at this, 3-day balance here, let's just zoom in a little bit. I'm going to make sure it's not extending. And extend, right, for newer people, it just doesn't pick up till the end. I'm telling a specific range that I want to see. So if this is our 3-day area, right, and this is the value area high, and this is the value area low, and we could also change this, right, to what? What could I change this to? Can I not use 2 sig to see what is the extreme? So the extreme of that 2-day balance was at 29, and I would say the bottom one's going to be the last here, or it's probably the same. So we know that they're trying to stay in this value here. They did not find value up at the top. So if you're not finding value here, so now think about this. We're saying that there's no value in this area above this box, correct? Then they said, okay, well, we had value here and we did not agree from this range. You will get the picture, I promise, at the end. Give me a second. Okay, so if this was our previous range on the bottom now that we built, and you didn't agree on that, okay, are these breakouts clean?
No.
Why not?
It doesn't spend a lot of time in the area.
Okay. What's another reason I would say that the auction really is slowing down a little bit compared maybe to some previous breakouts that we've had. For instance, this one here.
You're getting more overlap.
Ah, so now if you look, if you go against these breakouts, do you see what Bean just said? So even if this is, if you give them the benefit of a doubt here, which probably shouldn't, but you see the problem? Does everybody understand what I'm trying to picture for you?
Market slowing down.
Market slowing down drastically here, even though everybody, remember, they're going to give you a lot of good stuff. They want to make sure you're happy when everything is good, when everything is green. And I'm not only talking about trading, also the economy, right? They tell you everything's great. And then all of a sudden they need something called scapegoat. They're going to find something and it's going to be like, oh yeah, that's the reason why I took a turn. And then it quickly turns around and then people start freaking out. Oh man, I didn't see anything coming. Like I was actually pretty good. Everything was green. And then with some people, there's no even point of arguing, on some of these topics or having discussions because they just don't care. They believe everything's great. Government's there to do the best thing they can for them and they just keep going. And that's okay, right? We need those people. And same thing happens here as the market's trending higher. They're not spending a lot of time. What KJ said, it was, the longer the accumulation, the bigger the move. So they accumulated here for, and you can track the accumulation if you like. So let's say they accumulated, what is this, 23 days, and then they had a rocket, and then they accumulated here, I would say for a little bit longer, 39 days. And then you got this up move, right? You got this shift higher, but you're almost coming back to this range. This one here never really came back, and you could measure the distance of the pullback from the top to the bottom, right? You could see what is the actual, is the strength slowing down or not? So the pullback, you see they brought it back all the way here. So 2%, away from that target. And if you think about this accumulation, right? Initially they popped and they brought it back immediately here. And let's say you give them a benefit of the doubt here, 2%, initial one, 3%. So if we do lose this low here, what do you think happens of the yellow? If you lose the, the range that I drew here, if you lose the 15, what is the next logical level where they will visit?
For 48,
48, 40.
something.
Yeah,
20.
40,
Okay.
48, 40. Because they got to test what? If this is a true breakout, then who should show up here?
The buyers that broke it
The
out.
buyers.
Well, the buyers that accumulated here, they're going to come back, and now the goal is going to be for them to defend their positions, right? And if that's not the case and they fail, well, B will fail as well. Okay. I don't know if I drew this trend line correctly or not, but this one you might want to pay attention to because our friends on retail prefers these things, and yes, they do. Like bounce perfectly off the trend line. Okay. Yeah, they're trying to push a little higher now. I wouldn't be surprised if they run it to 88 overnight. All right, TPO. Okay, so typically what they do on something like this, right? They had a gap down, they have a profile. What profile shape is this?
Is that a P?
Yeah, it's a P shape, right? I mean, it has more than 5 TPOs as well. So it is a POC. I'm sorry, it is a P-shaped profile, right? And what they did immediately is that the other time frame buyers, as you can tell, there's a little bit of excess here, pretty aggressive access low sitting. I'll mark this guy somewhere here at 49.40. They showed up. I mean, a little bit of a split here right below the mid. Otherwise, I don't see anything standing out too much on the profile. Pretty regular, normal profile. Now I would say tomorrow's open. If we do open below this, let's say POC, this area, which happens to be that, 72-ish, 72. If we open below the POC, is there a high chance that they can go to 60 here? I would say yes, and most likely they will bounce there the first time, unless I believe you have PPNI tomorrow, right? Is it correct?
Yeah, we do. We also have, I think, 30-year mortgage auction stuff at 4
So
a.m. or 6, 7. Let's see, hold on.
these bounces and plays I'm saying is not for the binary event. It's more as if there was no binary event. If they do hold this, however, if they hold this value area low, what that would imply to us is that they rejected the values lower. We're back into that 3-day value here. And now, if you take that 3-day value and find that, let's say, even the value area here, it looks like it'll be somewhere around here. And find this value here, find the 3-day value and see where the value area high is sitting. If I can find it eventually. I'm not sure why is it not shifting. This can't be 68% here. There's no way. Okay, that makes sense. So if they're able to crack this level tomorrow, right, at 78, what would that imply to you then in terms of value, what you said, Beam? So they rejected it up top, when I drew those boxes. If they're able to crack 78, what would that tell you?
They're searching for higher. They're not happy with trading in the value range that was created today.
Yeah. So if is there a high chance if they crack this, they hit 88, 10 points? Yeah. And then the value, the range high is sitting at 97.5, which it hasn't played really a role. There's a huge gap there. So if they crack 88, this is open space, and all these lunatics that are buying here, they're going to get aggressive again and buy. I would watch for this 512 for a short opportunity if they're to do that. Okay. But as long as they stay in this value here, then it's going to mean that they're accepting this as a value. They disagree that it's below, but they're agreeing it's here. And then we would monitor, kind of see if the POC develops here. If they build a lot of value, they spent some volume here, right? But it's not, I would say, probably not significant to what we've seen today. So, and if you look, where's the POC for 1, 2, 3, what's this, 4, 5, 6, 7 days now? The POC is sitting right here, right? So, and we're holding that POC. So from my perspective, right, I can't be bearish just yet, if that makes sense. We have to lose this little red line, what I kind of put here. We have to lose this, right? Whatever that is, 58-ish. You have to lose that. So don't set a strong bias just because of this sell-off here. There's a lot of gap. We only went down from RTH, believe it or not, 16 points. So, binary drove it down, but then they recovered all of it, guys. So recovered meaning the RTH session was fully brought back. So I wouldn't be so bearish. Please don't have a bearish mindset. You have to play the levels that you see, and if the price is accepted higher, you're going higher. If they accept above 12 by some chance, then we know they're going 43. High chance of a slowdown at 30, but play the price acceptance rejection. Do not expect or play the game. I predict it's going to go higher. I don't think you'll survive in trading much. Okay. So any
It-
questions?
I was going to say, if you draw a line from the top, well, mine, I'm using ETH, but if you use ETH, you draw a line from the tops of the charts, you essentially have a downward channel, and we could easily hit that 12, and it would be rejecting that top line, 512.
Yep.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you're talking about
That
something
like
this.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
So hitting the 512 still hits that downward channel.
Yeah. Well, I think they could, if
Yeah.
they hit it overnight, depends where they come in.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Ideally, if they're to drag this and then pop here, that'd be much better. But let's see what happens tomorrow. I think, I don't know which one they care for anymore, PPI or CPI, but I thought they would care more about PPI, but maybe they care about CPI now. So, okay. I'll be live tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm gonna take trades, but I'll trade live in the morning, or I'll at least comment in the morning, but I'm planning on trading till we see what they want to do here. Tomorrow's open is fairly important in terms of value, guys. Please pay attention to it tomorrow. What is it that you want to compare? If somebody's new, how would you teach them? What do they got to watch?
You have to watch where we're opening compared to the previous day range and value area.
That's correct. Is there anyone that doesn't understand that? Don't make me call your names, please. It's okay if you don't. Anyone that doesn't follow. Okay. So tomorrow, these blue lines are going to be pretty important to know. What are they going to do? And if you want to extend them, sure. So these lines here are going to be super duper important. And funny enough, I mean, if you guys look at it, this is the mid back and the value area high. And it was the gap from the other day, top of the gap, all at one level. And if you're to do some maybe fibs for this day, I'd be interested to see if we go from here to here with the 38.2 be here.
If it breaks above 88, shouldn't it hit 12 pretty fast?
Oh yeah, should pretty much rock it there. And the 0.382 is there, right? So why do I care about 0.382?
For momentum.
Yeah, I want to know if the momentum is there, right? If they're failing at the 0.382, that means the bearish trend's probably strong. If they're able to crack this, I would expect them to visit this area, to be honest, but let's see. Let's see what they do. And in terms of delta, I checked it earlier. I didn't see anything unusual. I did see the spike. I was interested to see what happened with the spike. Where did they accumulate majority, right? And did anyone take a look? Pay attention to this candle here. You guys see where they, so the green means delta is red. And then you see where they shorted. You see where they were selling, right? And then basically they got squeezed. Those people that were shorting here, they were betting on.
Around 59-ish, they started buying it up.
Yep, at 60 level, we had these sellers right here, right? So if you see these sellers, they go from 59.60, which matches the level that we said is a really important level for our bearish continuation tomorrow. So now, if you think about this, this is where the short squeeze happened. If we were to come back here and we have a weak bounce here, because if these guys are not defending earlier, right, you see these aggressors a little bit sitting here, then, they might have a little bit of an issue as well. And here, you look now, you follow up, you completed, right, the auction is done. It had a pretty good, I mean, when you think about, the delta, that's pretty massive. So you went from cumulative delta of 27 to negative, call it 5,000. That's a big jump. Somebody bought a lot. But then if you look at these candles here, right, there's a lot of sellers sitting at different parts, right, with aggression. I'd be interested if they can push this from perspective of, you know, the footprints here, where would you guys expect that we short this next? I'm giving you plenty of information to make this decision here. Let me zoom in.
You've
That
got
double
two.
POC.
You're watching this little area here, right? So you want to know what happens here. Because you guys are used to, if you haven't traded clusters, right? You're used to these candles here, right? And for you, you don't know where the aggression came in. You have no idea based on this candle what's actually hiding behind. But when you turn this little X-ray button, right, you're able to see what's actually going on, right? You have a completed auction here, another completed auction. You see that, you know, there's a little bit of volume uptick here. Do you guys see that compared to the rest of it? You see it's 220, you know, 300, but this is also happens to be lunch hour. Typically, you know, and it's good. You know, when I say use a similar time frames, I use 30 and 5 for the most part. You should get familiar with what's normal for that range in terms of volume. So, you know, when you say it's large is relative, right? Maybe it's large on 1 minute, but it's really nothing on 30. So when you look at these levels, right, unfortunately, they don't have the function of the average size of the bid and the ask, but it would be helpful to know, right? If you know the average is, let's say, you know, 400, let's say 500 is the norm. Well, then you see these large orders sitting at the top, right? 5,000. Well, something's off, right? And then if you break this level, let's say tomorrow, then we can assume that they reloaded here, right? And then they're selling off. But who would you expect to see large size at the top? Where? On bid or in the ask?
On the ask.
Yeah, and I would say at the top you have a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of imbalance. You have some orders going for 750, and this is an imbalance chart. So if you go on the double and you put, let's say, volume here, we can do sell volume here to make it easier. You'll be able to see a little bit better, right? Where's the orders coming in that are large? And you see here, there's a lot of red delta and a lot of large orders too. So if they took this from the bottom, if these people got trapped and they took the profit tomorrow, they took the profit here. And if we lose this level, let's say we lose this level here, then you're expecting a little bit more fall down, right? Then if you go back here and if these people can't defend, which caused the spike, that confirms the bears are still in control and the auction is going to go. It's just that they were done for the day, right? They made their money, they sold off. So tomorrow we'll watch this, right? That level, that node right here will be interesting to see what happens. Because this is also, when you think about it, this is the actual, what in terms of naked trading, what would this be level here? Why is it important?
Change of character.
There you go. Yeah, that'll be our change of character, right? So they change the character. So tomorrow, if you can't hold what you just changed, what happens? You just continue. You should continue in the trend that you've been, right? And the trend now that we have on what is this? 30 minutes is you have higher high, lower high, lower high, lower low, lower low, lower high, lower low. So now on the upside, what is the level?
Over 72, I think is what you were saying before.
Yeah, 72, we turn bullish. Remember, we want to be bullish over 72.
Right.
And
We got to be over 88 to see the run up.
Then you want to crack, remember this area where we had
But
the
you got that 81.
82.
Didn't you have
81 is the large order, right? So
Hmm.
let's, it'll be interesting to see what they do. I think that's order came in somewhere here,
Mm-hmm.
like I believe right here at 80 and a quarter. So full bullishness is above 88 and a half, and that matches, right? Can they dance here and trap people? Yes. But tomorrow's open is going to be super important. Are you opening inside and accepting this value? And if the IB is tight tomorrow, like if we open, we've had some crazy numbers. Let's say we open below a 12 IB tomorrow, and we're leaning more towards bearish side, below POC, closer to value area low. On the first crack of IB, there's a high chance they're just going to continue down. And same is true for the opposite. because there will be the bullish neutral, the bullish type of days, bullish extreme up or down. And let's see where they open, right? If we see that they open a value area low, they dip, reclaim, then you know they're rejecting that value again. They want to go higher. Most likely target is 87. So tomorrow's open is going to be crucial. Okay. And I don't know if Apple sold off. My God, they reclaimed half of this drop. All right. Okay. Yeah, it looks like Tesla, if it reclaims tomorrow's value here above 184, they can really push it probably back to this value area low. They're running really good in tandem. I don't know if you guys saw that Jeff Bezos sold quite a bit of stock. I think $2 billion worth. I still think this is good for 100 or so by end of the year or sooner on this. All right, guys. Well, I don't have much. I'm going to schedule the class in advance. I'll do that probably tomorrow morning, where we'll cover the new PowerPoint for the TPO. And if the time allows, we can add footprints, but I prefer to just cover TPO first with some examples that I came up with, and then also do the stock search for the month. So schedule that and just keep an eye on the announcements.
Thanks, Shorty.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello. না ও বাই মিস্টেক হ্যাঁ তার কারণ হচ্ছে অন্য কথা এবার বলো তোমার ফুটের প্রপোজিশনটা কি ভোট হ্যাঁ খাও ওকে বাই